Good morning. Katana, I really enjoyed watching your stuff. Um, I have one question. I know you used olive oil on the one side. What was the stain on the other side, on the second side? Oh, okay. That's what it sounded like you were saying, but I wasn't quite sure. Morning, Nathaniel. Hey, the word of the day is groundhogs. I didn't see a single groundhog while I was gone over the weekend, but I sure have seen a couple this morning. Me nor like the groundhog. Say hello to Harold. He's my little friend. Groundhogs eat things. Groundhogs get into my garden. All righty. Hope you guys are all doing well. We are at the point with a lot of people. Morning, Nick. Where we're going to start. We've talked about. I'm trying to review here. You know, we've come up with that question. We talked about background research and writing a hypothesis, and writing our procedures for the lab experiment. Now we're at the point where we're doing the experiment where we're actually testing our things, and we have our glasses or beakers or cups, whatever we might be using. We have everything labeled, and we're doing our experiment. It could be a plant, a pot 1, pot 2, and pot 3 that we have a plant in. And so we're at that point where we're doing our experiment, and we need to think about, are we recording our data? Have we recorded our data correctly? Have we gotten everything that we wanted to get as far as information? And does that information that we collect jive or go hand in hand with what our question was? That becomes the thing that sometimes we're saying, okay, I'm going to collect all this data. You must have just sent it to me, Nathaniel. I'll have to look. We've collected all this data, and what information did we collect, and what information is important to report on that goes back to our question. Now, you certainly want to make sure that whatever data that you're collecting refers back to what your question was in the first place and why you did this experiment. For example, if you were trying to see under what conditions a plant would grow best, or let's say you were trying to get a stain out, okay, that goes back to your original question. So what data did I decide to record? And so I did something. I just thought to myself, okay, these guys, if we were in the classroom, I probably would have them get a piece of paper and draw out a graph. And then I thought, how hard would it be to make a graph? And literally in 5 minutes of just tinkering around, I created 2 graphs. Well, they're actually the same. One's in color and one's in black and white, and I printed them off. That represents, in this case, it represents student work by grade and what's been turned in and what hasn't. And it's not real. I just made up some numbers and threw it on a graph. But I was actually able to do this in about 5 minutes time. Okay. What a cool way to show results from one of your experiments, which is why, especially with you guys are in 7th, so you should have done this last year a lot. We did a lot of work with interpreting pie charts and bar graphs. Why? Because so it'll help you be able to create one. And remember, you have a vertical axis, horizontal axis on graphs, and you can put one piece of information, like the horizontal axis might be sample A, sample B, and sample C, and the vertical axis might show you, let's say it was a plant, how much growth. Let's say you were trying to get a stain out. It could be a percentage. It got 100% of the stain out. It only got 50%. Sample B only got 50% of the stain out. Sample C got nothing. So whatever your project is, to report it, a graph is a really, really easy way to do it. Pie charts, maybe. Graphs are usually the easiest and the best. And so as a way to, good morning, thanks for joining us. As a way for you guys to report your results, I would suggest, because this is a visual. And so, like I said, honestly, this took about 5 minutes to do, and you can usually copy it and make it a part of your doc that you're sending me. You don't even necessarily have to print it. It won't really do you any good to print it unless just for you guys to be able to look at and say, does this look right? But what a great way to report your results. But remember, when you're reporting your results, remember that it goes back to whatever your step 1 question was. What usually will happen is there will be some a lot of side information there. And you might want to report it because it might be an alternate conclusion than what you thought was going to happen. Let's say that your goal was to get a stain out and you use different materials. You might want to report on how well the stain came out. You also might want to report on, as a secondary thought, how well did let's say it was a shirt and you're trying to get a stain out of a shirt. How well did the shirt hold up? Yeah, I got the stain out, but the shirt lost some of its color there too, or the cloth actually deteriorated. You know, you put something in bleach, the cloth will actually disappear after, it'll actually disintegrate after a certain period of time. And so does that answer your question that you started off with? No, but it's a secondary piece of information that you probably need to report on, because that would be pretty important to know. Let's say, man, this stuff really works to get a stain out, and it got the stain out in the first 6 hours. The problem is I left it in there for 24 hours, and when I did that, the shirt started to fall apart. Okay, so what would be the answer? All right, only put it in for 2 hours. So it's secondary information, but it's going to help you. Hey, Amir, good to see you, buddy. That secondary piece of information will help you not answer your question, but it'll help somebody not cause a secondary problem. Sometimes, and so here's a good example where we could say something like this. Sometimes we've all seen these crazy commercials on TV for some medicine to cure some disease, and it says side effects include instant baldness and tennis elbow and walking like a duck, and in some cases death. And of course, I'm being ridiculous, but the point is sometimes, I know Mr. Fossilite's going to say, what's wrong with baldness? Nothing. The point is, sometimes when we're doing an experiment, there's side effects, side challenges, side things that we need to be aware of, and we need to evaluate whether it's worth using that to solve the problem if it causes a secondary problem. So let's say we had 3 different things. Let's say we were trying to get a stain out of a piece of cloth, and we used 3 different fluids to do that. First one didn't do anything. The second one worked, and the third one worked. Okay, well, let's talk about the second and third one. And this is where you're analyzing your results. That's step 5 out of step 6, right? You're analyzing results. Step 1 didn't, or A or 1 did not work at all. We won't try that again. B completely got the stain out, and C completely got the stain out of the cloth. All right. Now we're saying, okay, it worked, but is there anything else? B completely got the stain out. C got the stain completely out, but it also changed the color of the shirt in that spot slightly, or the cloth started to deteriorate in that spot slightly. So when we write our conclusion, when we go to that step 6, we're going to say, yeah, B and C both worked, but the best option is going to be B, because, and this is where you put your 2 cents in, okay? This is where you put your opinion in there, or your thought, and you justify, okay? This is not A didn't work, B and C worked. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Now, this is where we would say A didn't work at all, B worked, C worked. They were in the solution for 24 hours. And the problem is with C, it deteriorated the cloth or changed the color of it, and so would not recommend this. I would not recommend this as being your best choice because, and so you can add your opinion in there. It's okay to add your opinion there and how that played a role. So I'm going to ask a question. What problems are you having with your experiments? And it might be, I ain't come up with one yet. Or it might be, I did it and I didn't record the data properly. How do you solve that? Can you do it again? Can you somehow remember sufficiently what happened, what went on, so that you can write a decent report and not just kind of blabbing on through the whole thing and none of it being true? I would rather have you have some decent information. Understand, most of these things that you guys are going to do, I've seen somebody do one way or another over the years, or have tried myself. And so there's a lot to think about. I helped somebody with coming up with an experiment idea this morning, and we had talked about an idea and then it didn't work, and we talked about another one and it didn't work, and finally came up with one. Hey, Kennedy, and we finally came up with one that the student felt that they could really do, that they had what they needed in the house, and that they understood it, and they think it would be interesting to them, and they think they could do it. So if you're at that point, it's certainly not too late. Honestly, the goal is to have this done. Why did I start it, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago? Because I wanted to have it done before our school is out. We will be doing there'll be a few other assignments in there, mixed in there, because for some people, this project, they've made a pretty big project out of it, and it's going to take a lot of time and effort. And some have made very, very simple projects, and it's like, wham, bam, I'm done. Okay, what do I do now? And so there will be some other assignments for you to do that just kind of go along with what we've been talking about. And so I don't see anybody asking any questions. A couple of you have been sending me messages, and that's awesome. I apologize. I was out of town over the weekend, and I was literally in the mountains with no cell phone reception, no internet, no nothing. I don't know if you guys would make it in that scenario. No TV, no boat, no motor car. No, we had a car. But we were, anyways, there was people that were trying to get a hold of me over the weekend. I apologize for that. Anyways, so where we're at right now, Nick, do me a favor, please. I'm going to put my email in here again. Either just email me. I mean, right when we get off, email me, or send me a message in Google Classroom, and Google Classroom would be the easiest. If you can get on, we can have a quick, easy conversation there. Or you can email me from your phone, and I'll give you a project idea. I'm not going to do it here with everyone else, because it really, there's a little bit of negotiating about what material you have and what you feel you're going to learn something from. And so just communicate with me real quick on that. I will get you an idea. Matter of fact, I'll probably even talk it over with Mr. Fosnight, because you're a smart kid, and I don't want to give you something that's too easy. Is your head ready to explode when I said that? I don't know. Seriously, part of this is trying to make sure that we're giving you guys a challenge, because this is not about finding the easy way out. And some people have really, really challenged themselves, and I think it's cool, or they've done something that was maybe not difficult, but something that they really had a question about, like, oh, I heard something about this. I wonder what it would be like if I made an experiment. There goes Mr. Fosnight teasing you. What would I do if I made an experiment out of this? Because I've heard some people talk about that, but I don't really know how it's going to turn out. And so you're taking something that you've heard about that you're interested in, but you're making it your own, and that's okay too. The important thing is going through these steps. Okay, making yourself a graph. 5 minutes on a computer. What did I go to? Let me see if I can find it. Hello. I Googled, and I think I Googled the 3 words, bar graph maker. Bar graph maker. And there's about, I don't know, 8, 10 different free bar graph chart makers. You can go online and just put the information in. And if you've never done it before, well, you're going to have to figure out Do I want my bars to come sideways? Do I want them to be vertical? And you could make it so it's like that, right? Or is like that, depending on how you want your information to go. It doesn't matter as long as we can read it and understand it. And it actually might be fun for you to do that, to get us some of the information. And so you can do it in a way where maybe it's a percentage, maybe it's heights that you're measuring. Maybe you're measuring the percentage of how well something worked. It worked at 100%, it worked at 10%, it worked at 50%. And so that side of that graph, the vertical side of the graph might be 0% up to 100%, or it could be a number of what you thought a result was supposed to be. And so there's a lot of ways you can do your graphs, which is really you interpreting your information. Science fair, where am I? And so we're really basically, if you looked at that project timeline that I sent everybody, we're down to the bottom four. You know, we've conducted our experiment, if we have, and we've started to record that data and in a graph. And sometimes in the middle of an experiment, if it's a short, quick one, we might need to go back and fill, what did I mean when I wrote this, and make sure that we understand what it is, and then decide how are you really going to report it. Are you going to make a graph? Are you going to make a pie chart or some other sort of, you could do, you know, it could be a line graph where you're showing an increase. There's different ways that you can report it, and this is why, especially with the sixth graders, I had that assignment. Then you are going to write a conclusion paragraph. I will not say that it needs to be a certain number of sentences, but it better be enough for you to get the point across of whether your question was answered, how it was answered, and what you learned. Okay. My hypothesis was wrong. I got completely different results than what I expected. And I think this happened because of what, right? What did I learn? None of the things that I used was proper. I'm going to redo the experiment and try 3 other things, or, you know, I don't think there's anything that'll work for this, or if I change this, it'll work, or it worked great using A, but not B and C. It's not what I expected. I thought C was going to work, or yeah, I thought A was going to work. And a why. Why did it work? Why do you think it worked? Why did it work? If you made a mistake, oh gosh, what? I had the right idea, but I totally messed it up. So what do I go back and change? And that's fine too. And I need to get out of here because it's 11:29. Someone's going to be broadcasting in a few minutes. Good to see you guys on. I will see the 6th graders in a little bit. And so hope you guys are all doing well. Don't forget the word of the day is groundhog. Tristan, you're awesome, buddy. Make sure you're going into Google Classroom. All right, take care, guys.